Night was the WNBA draft. The young lady out of TCU has been reunited with Angel Reese.
Today, we're unpacking a saga that's been making waves in the sports media landscape. The dramatic decline of Angel Reese's podcast, once a promising platform for a rising WNBA star, now struggling to hold on to its audience. The numbers don't lie. Some episodes are barely scraping 70 views, a shocking low for someone who was once a household name in women's basketball. This isn't just a story about a podcast gone wrong. It's a cautionary tale about authenticity, audience trust, and the perils of chasing trends over substance. Buckle up because we're diving deep into what happened, why it matters, and what it teaches us about the modern media game. A promising start. Angel Reese's rise to stardom. To understand the magnitude of this situation, let's rewind to the beginning. Angel Reese burst onto the scene as a force in women's college basketball, leading LSU to a national championship in 2023 with her fierce play, unapologetic confidence, and magnetic personality. She wasn't just a player. She was a cultural phenomenon, dubbed Bayou Barbie for her blend of athletic prowess and glamorous style.
But Hailey Van Lith. Oh, you gave a bad answer. This is a person who has played the last 2 times she played Caitlyn Clark. I'm not joking when I say this. Caitlyn Clark put 40 on.
Her trash talking, her signature celebrations, and her ability to dominate on the court made her a fan favorite and a media darling. Brands lined up to partner with her, from Nike to Reebok, and her social media presence exploded, amassing millions of followers who hung on her every post. When Reese transitioned to the WNBA, joining the Chicago Sky, expectations were sky high. She was seen as a cornerstone of the league's new era, alongside stars like Caitlyn Clark, A'ja Wilson, and Breanna Stewart. Her marketability extended beyond the court, and in 2024 she launched her podcast Unapologetically Angel under the prestigious umbrella of Shaquille O'Neal's media network. The show promised to showcase Reese's authentic voice, blending basketball insights with her larger-than-life personality. Early episodes featured high-profile guests like WNBA stars Skylar Diggins-Smith, Lisa Leslie, and DJ Carrington, delivering the kind of gritty, behind-the-scenes content that resonated with hoops fans. Production quality was top-notch, the guest list was stacked, and the buzz was undeniable.
Maintained contact with me. I really appreciate her. We have a very mature relationship.
For a moment, it seemed like Reese was building a media empire to match her on-court legacy. But somewhere along the way, things went off the rails. The podcast, once a beacon of promise, started hemorrhaging viewers, and the backlash from fans grew louder by the day. What began as a platform for basketball excellence morphed into something unrecognizable, leaving fans confused, betrayed, and ready to unsubscribe. So what happened? Let's break it down. The pivot that sparked a crisis. The turning point came with a single episode that sent shockwaves through Reese's fanbase. In a move that baffled her core audience, Reese invited Jada Cheeves and Des Dior, figures known more for their Instagram clout and reality TV appearances than for any connection to basketball, to guest on the show. The episode, which aired in early 2025, was a stark departure from the sports-driven content fans had come to expect. Instead of dissecting pick-and-roll strategies or sharing stories from the WNBA grind, the conversation veered into an hour-long discussion about dating wealthy men, luxury lifestyles, and navigating online criticism.
Disaster. What an embarrassing disaster for both ESPN and the WNBA.
It was less unapologetically Angel and more keeping up with the influencers. For fans who tuned in expecting insights from one of basketball's brightest stars, the episode felt like a bait and switch. Imagine clicking on a podcast hosted by LeBron James, only to hear him debate the merits of yacht parties with TikTok stars. The disconnect was jarring. Social media lit up with reactions, and the sentiment was unanimous. This wasn't what fans signed up for. One commenter summed it up perfectly. "I came for hoops, not a reality show audition." Another wrote, "This feels like Angel's forgetting why we supported her in the first place." The episode's view count was a brutal wake-up call. 66 views, a number so low it seemed like a typo for a star of Reese's caliber. But the content shift wasn't the only issue. Reese's response to the criticism amplified the problem tenfold. When fans voiced their disappointment, she didn't engage with humility or promise to course correct. Instead, she took to Twitter, or X as it's now called, with a defiant forward message: "Shut the F up." The tweet, posted in the heat of the moment, was a public relations disaster. It wasn't just tone deaf. It was a Molotov cocktail thrown into an already simmering fire.
NBA, there are women that were worthy of coverage prior to her arriving, and I just will not be silenced when it comes.
Fans who were already disillusioned by the podcast's new direction now felt personally insulted by their idol. The backlash was swift, with hashtags like @AngelReese and /unsubscribe trending as supporters turned into critics overnight. The numbers tell a grim story. Let's talk numbers, because they paint a stark picture. At its peak, Unapologetically Angel was pulling in thousands of views per episode. The decline wasn't gradual, it was a nosedive. Analysts estimate that Reese's viewership plummeted by over 90% in a matter of days, coinciding with the infamous Chiefs Dior episode. Fans weren't just tuning out. They were actively unsubscribing, unfollowing, and leaving scathing comments across platforms. One social media user quipped, "This podcast is like watching 3 kids judge food they've never tasted." Another wrote, "Listening to this is like losing IQ points in real time." The vitriol was palpable, and it wasn't coming from trolls. It was from the same fans who had once celebrated Reese's every dunk and double-double.
The WNBA is a pretend basketball league with one superstar and 143 other players who go unrecognized at family reunions.
This wasn't a case of a niche podcast struggling to find its footing. Reese had every advantage: a built-in audience, A-list production, and a platform amplified by her celebrity status. Yet, the numbers revealed a deeper truth. Her audience felt betrayed. They didn't want glossy influencer banter or recycled reality TV drama. They wanted the Angel Reese who battled in the paint, who spoke with raw passion about the game, who represented the grit and glory of women's basketball. Instead, they got a version of Reese that seemed more focused on clout than connection. The Caitlyn Clark comparison. A tale of two paths, inevitably. Comparisons to Caitlyn Clark began to dominate the conversation. Clark, the Iowa phenom who took the WNBA by storm with the Indiana Fever, has become the poster child for the league's new golden era. While Reese was grappling with podcast woes, Clark was filling arenas, posting highlight reels that racked up millions of views, and earning praise for her laser-focused approach to her craft. Clark hasn't launched a podcast yet, but fans were quick to point out that if she did, it would likely outshine Reese's simply because Clark seems to understand her audience intuitively. The contrast between the two stars is striking. Clark's offseason has been a masterclass in brand building. She's stayed true to her roots as a basketball savant, engaging fans with authentic content like workout clips, game breakdowns, and community events. Reese, on the other hand, appears to have misjudged what her fans value. By pivoting to pop culture gossip and influencer-driven content, she alienated the very audience that had propelled her to stardom. One fan captured the sentiment perfectly.
So Caitlyn Clark is averaging, against her, over the since 2023, averaged 40 points per game.
Caitlyn Clark doesn't need a podcast to connect with people. She just shows up and plays. Angel's out here chasing TikTok trends. This comparison isn't about pitting two women against each other. It's about highlighting the different choices they've made in navigating fame. Clark's trajectory shows the power of staying authentic to one's core identity, while Reese's missteps reveal the risks of straying too far from what made you a star. For Reese, the Clark comparisons are a bitter pill, a reminder of what could have been if she doubled down on her basketball roots instead of chasing influencer clout. The anatomy of a disconnect. So how did a podcast with so much potential fall so far so fast? The answer lies in a series of miscalculations that eroded the trust between Reese and her audience. Let's break it down. Misreading the audience. Reese's core fan base, basketball enthusiasts, WNBA supporters, and young athletes, came to her podcast for insights into the game. They wanted stories from the locker room, tips for improving their own skills, and conversations with players who shared their passion for hoops. By shifting to topics like dating wealthy men and influencer drama, Reese abandoned the content that had defined her brand. It was as if she assumed her audience would follow her anywhere, regardless of the subject matter. They didn't. Poor guest choices. The decision to feature Jada Cheeves and Des Dior was a head-scratcher. While both women have their own followings, their relevance to basketball is non-existent. Fans were vocal about wanting guests who could elevate the conversation. WNBA veterans, coaches, or even women in business and leadership.
Hailey through the pain of returning to toxic hell. Oh, her face is like the F. Yeah, it's over. HVL is feeling sick. She cut the cancer out and it came right back. Gotta watch.
Instead, they got what one commenter called rapper girlfriends, whose contributions felt shallow and out of place. As one fan put it, with all the incredible women out there, why choose Instagram influencers? Tone-deaf response to criticism. Reese's "shut the F up" tweet was the nail in the coffin. In an era where authenticity and accountability are paramount, dismissing fan feedback with such hostility was a catastrophic misstep. She could have acknowledged the criticism, promised to refocus on basketball, or even explained her vision for the podcast's new direction. Instead, she doubled down, alienating fans who might have given her the benefit of the doubt. The tweet didn't just spark backlash, it turned supporters into detractors.
Her style, her energy, her shot, whether it's because her game mirrors one of the greatest players in the NBA in Steph Curry or not, I don't know what it is. It's an intangible thing, right? Yes, we can say she's a dog. Okay, there's been other dogs. Okay, she's a great shooter.